Listen, let's begin by checking in on your team news for the match against Wolves. How are things with James Ward-Prowse and Ryan Bertrand in particular?
Oh, both are looking good. Back in the training with the team, and should be available for this game normally.
Okay, and with Danny Ings, there was a suggestion that he might be ahead of schedule. Is that true? Is that the case?
Is he?
I'm asking you.
I don't know. He's walking around quite good, I think. Yes, but still time to go. But looks good. There are no complications, and it was a small surgery, so it's good when he looks good.
Listen, is everybody else okay?
Everybody else is in training in the moment, yes, I haven't seen everybody coming back from the internationals. Jan Bednarek played on Wednesday, but I think he's okay. Musa I haven't seen so far. Stewie I haven't seen so far. Yannick Westergaard is today the first day also in the session. So we have all the guys back today, and it's an advantage that we play on Monday, so we have a few sessions to work on a few parts. This is definitely good.
Oriol Romeu has signed a new contract. He started every Premier League match for you this season. Just how important a player is he becoming for you?
It was always important for us. Also in the time when he was not playing, because he's some kind of a professional player you don't meet very often, I think, in your managing career. Definitely a role model for professionalism and acting in a team, being important even if you're not playing. So fantastic character, fantastic guy. Very happy that we could sign him for another 2 years, and I think he enjoys what we're doing in the moment here. It fits very good to him, I think, to his game, and made awesome. A big progress, a big development in his game with the ball in the last weeks, and this is what we were hoping for, and it's definitely a really Southampton guy in the moment.
Listen, we've seen the reintroduction of 5 substitutes in the EFL. Premier League managers met this week. It was discussed in that meeting. Where do you stand on it, and do you sense that we are perhaps getting closer to the reintroduction of 5 substitutes in the Premier League?
I wasn't in the past always a big fan of his 5 subs. I was making such an comment, even when I was playing or managing in the Bundesliga, that I could think about making 5 subs 3 times a game. So I was happy when in the summer they changed it to having 5 subs. The crazy thing is that I didn't use it very often, even if we could. And I don't really think, and this is what we should pay attention, I don't really think that it avoids injuries, because one fact is for me clear: when you have 5 subs, the game doesn't slow down in the end. It speeds up again, so that means that can cause problems for the guys that are still on the pitch. So normally everybody's getting tired in the end, and the game slows a little bit down. So I don't think that it protects you from injuries. It definitely helps you to flip a little bit more the players, and to have more rest times for some players. Yes, if you have 5 subs, you can definitely, for the teams, they have more games like than we have. It's an advantage for them, but I can take it. It's okay for me. I think the 5 subs, especially in this special season with this very, very intense time, a lot of fixtures coming up, it's a good thing, absolutely.
Listen, finally from me, the link between dementia and football has been in the news again this week. The PFA have announced a new group to look at how better to support former players who have dementia. How concerning is it for you, and should we be considering not having heading in training?
I mean, I can only speak for my experience I have made, because I definitely took a lot of these headers in my entire playing career. It was the center forward, and my biggest strength was the header. So, and I know that there are some brain cells dying from headers. This is what definitely I think is everybody knows this. I think to avoid dementia, I think I tried always to work on my brain and to build new brain cells, if you want, and try to build new connections. And this is always possible until you are until you stay alive. So you should work on this. But sure, especially for the young kids, we must pay attention here, not doing too much on this part. But even now, you can see that all the young lads are coming out of the academy. They have a lack of quality in headings because they don't do it so often anymore. So you must find a solution maybe with different balls. They are not so hard or so heavy. Maybe this is easier to learn the technique and not use it all the time in the session with the most powerful shots on the head or whatever. Huh? So there's something to discuss about. There are some solutions I think I have, and yeah, in the end, it's about protecting them. That's right.
Ralph, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ian. We'll go to Chris Temple with Premier League.
Ralph, good morning. You're looking for a fourth win in a row for the first time in your reign. How much do those little milestones mean, I guess, as part of the bigger picture? Do you use little milestones like that?
No, not really. It's. We have another big challenge on the weekend. We have an opponent that is famous for his good mentality and never giving up, and very tough to go there and to take points. We had one game there where we drawed and made a good game, I think, and then the home game we were 2 up and then lost again 3-2 against a strong side. So it's more about focusing what we need to do to win this game, but not about how many wins we just have. There's nothing older than the success from yesterday, so don't speak too much about it. We don't speak too much about defeats, and also not about the wins. So let us focus on the main part of the game, and they are massive because we need to have good solutions and good automatism with the ball and against the ball, and definitely also pay attention after losing the ball because they have very good transition offensive. So would be interesting.
Just on the general good feeling around the club at the moment, Ralph, you were top of the table for that brief spell, and just looking across social media, everybody seemed to love it and revel in it. How much can you use that as a hunger, that when the good times come, you can use that as a fuel to build on?
Yeah, I mean, it was nice for the fans, as I said, but I was also not unhappy about going back on 4th position because we don't need the focus on the very top of the league, because definitely there's not a position we should be at the moment, because we are not that far, I think, in our development as a club or as a team. But yes, we do a good job in the moment. That's the reason why we get a lot of points now, and I think this is what everybody enjoys here. Definitely, the atmosphere is like, guys are discussing what we do different, why it does work so good in the moment, and you can feel that everybody around here is really focused on that job, and this is what I like to see. Never stop being hungry and want more, and then the table is interesting at the end of the season, not now.
Che Adams has got 3 goals in his last 4 games. In the absence of Danny Ings, do you feel he's taken that extra responsibility on as one of your main goal sources and built on it?
Yeah, I mean, everybody must take responsibility then more from being Ings not part of the game. But as I always said, without Ingsy, we lose some qualities in some situations. We have to handle it in a different way, and we have a lot of offensive players in the squad. They are not playing all the time now because we have good duels there in front, and now they have the chance to show up. And who does it best gets the chance to play. And if he plays well, and Danny Ings comes back, it's it's always a winning team. You never change a winning team. So they know that there's a chance now, and they will go for it.
Finally, for me, Ralph, at Premier League Productions this week, they're doing a program on leadership, and they're asking managers what they think the most important trait is when it comes to leadership and management. What would you say?
There is not one most important part. I think there are so many important parts. You have to play different roles every day, and I think it takes more than a few hours to speak about what are the things you really need to have. I think if you want to pick one, I think the most important thing is that you stay yourself and don't act in any way. It's good if you are successful with the way you are and don't need to act like I don't know what.
Thank you, Ralph.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. We'll go to Adam Blackmore.
Morning, Ralph. How are you?
Morning, Adam. Thank you. And you?
I'm okay, thank you. Very fine. Looking forward to Monday. Board of internationals. Wolves specifically. Look, they're a very good side. We know that. They're a team that's happy with the ball and happy playing on the counter-attack. So, like Burnley and Newcastle, they're one of those sides you haven't been able to overcome yet. So what do you need to do?
Yeah, I think we had some good one or two halves against them, where we really showed what we can do against them. I think they have good game management all the time, so we need to be very, very disciplined with the ball and against the ball, and especially, as I said, have a good rest defense, a good counter pressing, all these parts. I mean, in modern football, if you don't perform in any part of your game, it's always difficult to win, and that's especially for us. You can feel it. Hopefully, the Monday fixture is for us a little bit easier to bring back a few automatism. You know, when the lads are going to the international games, they play a different style of football, and sometimes it takes a little bit until they get back in what we are doing here. So hopefully we can use the next 2-3 days to get a good in a good shape and to be good prepared for a tough game and have a better start, like after the last international break, where the first 45 minutes were a really good one.
Is this the toughest, most telling part of the season coming up? We've had the internationals now. We've now got this period up to the FA Cup in January. Is this where you really find out as a manager about what you're about this season, this spell now coming up with so many games?
Yeah, definitely. It's now really hard work. It's always hard work, but now it's without a break until March, I think. And this is definitely a long time. But I think we showed last season that we like to play in this rhythm, and the more the rhythm we get in our game, the better we are normally. We are physically a strong team, although we play intense way of football, intense type of football. We love this 3 games a week, or busy time over Christmas, and that's the reason why we need every player. Everybody is keen now to stay fit, because the chance comes sometimes quicker than you think. And hopefully we won't have any long-term injuries here, because we need every player here.
Just finally, when you look at Wolves, you see the identity that Nuno has on the side and has developed, and you're doing that now at Southampton. He has often gone back to the market he knows. You know, there's lots of Portuguese players that he knows, that he has in his squad and he trusts. How are you set up as a club now? What have you been doing to use the markets you know? Are you wanting to tap into the Bundesliga in the future more because you know that well? Or are you scouting different leagues? How are you doing it to develop or use your knowledge and history to benefit Southampton?
I mean, when you see our development, it's not about signings, to be honest. We have a few ones like Musa and Shea and now Theo, but we're not a team that develops with signings. Even in the future, I think we will get players that will not immediately help us, but when they are with us for a few times, then they help us. So this is the way we go. We don't have the money to buy players. They are immediately putting us on a different level. But this is okay, because I think it's more about the work we do on it every day on the pitch, and this is I think much more interesting for me as a manager, but also for the club, because that gives you a longer or a more solid based development. And because when your development depends on one player or two players you signed new, I think this is not long lasting, because when they are injured, everything falls back. No, I know it's not so interesting for you as a media. You like to have big signings, or that's what is England always talking about. But I think our development, when you see it, it's nearly the same team that's playing now like played last year at the beginning of the season. So we are not that different from the personal, but from the way we play, we are definitely. And this is, I think, the good message.
Just finally, if I can, Jordan, can I ask you to pay tribute to Oriol Romeu as a person? He's been at the club since 2015. He's been dropped, he's been picked, he's been struggling to stay in the division with the side, always fighting, but he's never shirked away. He's always been honest. How important is his character and his personality to the squad?
As I said, he's a role model, what means professionalism. I think there was a time mid of last season where he was number 4 behind Prowse, Pierre Heuberg and Will Smallborn. And then was the lockdown. And in the lockdown, he knew, okay, now I have to show up. He lost some weight and changed a few, also his food behaviors. He changed and this is, he came back more fit. And I think, the rest was about trusting him, what he's doing. Took the advantage when Pierre Heuberg was out then, and at first I think he was injured, and then he was playing, and he played well with Prowse together, a very good double six in the midfield. And then I didn't change anymore because we knew that Pierre will leave us after the season. So he grabbed this chance with both hands and waiting for this chance, but not only waiting for it, also be prepared when you get the chance that you are on a different level, because only then you deserve to play.
I was reading an interview you did with Bild in Germany earlier today, and I wasn't aware, although I think you've maybe mentioned it before, but I wasn't aware that you had a very serious sounding disease called hantavirus back in 2012.
Yeah.
I mean, you may have spoken about it before, but I don't think many people will be aware of that. Can you tell us, I mean, how serious was it? Could you have possibly died, and what happened exactly?
Yeah, I know that there are people dying from this virus. This is what I tried to push away, because I felt young, I felt healthy, I felt strong, and I thought about why should I die from such a virus? But it was definitely serious. Yeah, I was, I think, more than 2 weeks in a hospital and also in intensive care. So it was really, really, big pain, and it was not nice. I think I don't want to have this again. So I know how it feels. And the crazy thing was we didn't know what it is in the beginning. Yeah, now I think it was especially in the region where I was managing at that time. It was a little bit more often happening that people get it, that's the reason why we then checked it and then knew that I have this virus. And there's also no, you only have to wait until your body creates antibodies, and then you hope to survive. But it was definitely serious, and I think nearly lost my job at that time because I was very long out and just promoted with a third league team in the second league. And I didn't know when I can step back in my job, and that nearly cost my job. But then just before the season came back, and then it was a successful one. But I was very without power, without energy, so it was not easy. But survived, and it's a good thing.
Yeah, wow, I mean, it feels like from what you're saying, if you hadn't recovered from it quick enough, then maybe you might not be here playing at Southampton now. Not in terms of being alive, but in terms of losing your job at Ireland. And how's it changed your perspective on life? And obviously, at the moment with the coronavirus, does it give you it's obviously a different virus, but more of a, I don't know, empathy towards what people are going through?
I mean, it's human that you forget, and it's good, I think. If you wouldn't, I think the life would not be very nice. So you try it, especially me as a person, I can't really put things aside and don't think about them anymore. But in that moment, I definitely felt that life is more about that only working or doing your job. You are more enjoying every minute, and this is a good thing. On the other side, the longer it is gone, the less you think about it. But especially in the moment now, in this time now, when you are around this pandemic, then you're thinking more often about this time, and you don't want to have any virus in you, and it's definitely something that you try to avoid.
Thank you, Ralph.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go to Dan Rose at the Echo.
Hi, Ralph. Just a quick one from me. Mohamed Salisu, how is he progressing, and is he now fit and ready for action?
Was training all the time with us, more and more endurance and everything, and we must have a look how his body reacts now. Still a way to go, I think, for being match fit. But very keen that he was now for minimum 2 weeks part of the sessions.
How much can you learn from those sessions? Like you say, getting up to full speed and getting into those drills and into that contact and learning what you want to do.
Yeah, he's a calm guy, but physically very strong guy, and shows also on the ball that he is the calm we need to build up with decision making. And still learning what we want to do here. It's not so easy. The way we defend, it's a little bit different, more ball oriented. But I'm very happy that he's here, and he's a long-term project, and I'm sure that he will play a lot of games for us.
And one quick one from me. Will Smallbone, I believe he had a quad problem, didn't he, before the international break? What's the latest with him?
Starts today again with the team training, so hopefully stays fit now, and is coming back now.
Perfect. Thanks, Ralph.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go to Adrian at the Mail.
Hi, Ralph. How are you?
I'm okay, thank you.
Good. Ralph, I just want to go back to dementia, which you spoke about before. And you're obviously talking about what you were like and your style as a player. I just wondered, did you ever think when you were playing about possibly the damage all the heading may have been doing to you? When you were a player, was it anything that ever popped up and affected maybe the way you trained? Gary Lineker was talking the other day how he didn't head balls in training. Did you ever do anything like that, for example?
Yes, because when I remember that the balls were, especially when it was wet, they were definitely heavier than the balls today. Yeah? So it was definitely, it hurt sometimes really when you headed it on the goal or cleared it as a defender. So, but I think you, as I said before, you try to push it away. Sport is not always healthy. It's every kind. You can speak about the skiers. They after their career, they have no knees anymore, or both knees damaged normally. So it's definitely, sport is not, when you play golf, your back is maybe finished after your career, because you do this time again and again. You can't speak about every sport because always the same movement you do, and that cause problems. Yeah? So tennis player or whatever, everybody will carry his back after this career, and so there are the risks we have. But we shouldn't do what is obviously not the best, especially when they're young. So when we can avoid this and make it a little bit easier to learn it, but still have it and don't remove it completely from the game, then I think it's the best way to go.
I was going to say, you mentioned in the first section you were talking about there are various solutions. I wondered what you maybe thought may be possible ideas to combat maybe the damage that's being done when people, younger players in particular, heading the ball.
Yeah, as I said, I mean, I have also a son who is playing football, and I remember when I was training with him the headers that I took a very soft ball, and to get only the technique, and with the soft ball you can also work on the way you want to hit the ball, and I think it worked. When I see him today, he's also center forward, and he's playing, and on the weekend he made a goal with the header. So I think the way we tried to learn it was a good one, and then in the sessions, don't make 30 crosses and clear the ball to the middle line. So this is not necessary, I think, because the technique is there, and then only use it when it's definitely necessary.
Are you doing anything with your players now? Is it affecting even now? Now you're working professional level, and also how old's your son now as well?
He's now 23. Right. Yeah, 23, and we have also a few lads in our squad. As I said, in the academy, you can see that especially this part of their game is not that good developed. They don't head anymore in the youth, and that's the reason why they have no timing. They have no definitely technique to make a controlled header on the goal or whatever. So you must work with them on some parts, and we had definitely some players after the session sometimes to make a few headers, not the hardest ones, but only to get the technique. And this is, I think, even if you play head tennis, I think this is something where you can learn it, and it's not that impact, and it doesn't really hurt by now.
Thanks so much, Ralph. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Okay, we will go to Ben Stanfield.
Thanks, Jordan. Morning, Ralph.
Morning.
I just wanted to take you back to the Newcastle game as well, if that was possible, because we've obviously not had a chance to catch up with you since then. We know you've won league titles before. We know you've been top of the Bundesliga with Leipzig, etc. But obviously that win was very significant for Saints, particularly the fans, as you've mentioned, because as you're well aware, we'd never been top of the Premier League since it was created in 1992. With all that in mind and understanding that it's about the longer term picture here, when you eventually got home and you were able to sort of sit and relax that Friday evening, were you able to take a moment to sort of reflect on it and enjoy it personally, given everything that you and your team have been through over the last 12 months? Or, was it just another day at the office for Ralph Hasenhüttl?
No, sure. I mean, if you want to change things in the long term, you need short-term success. And this is why such moments are always important, because that grows the belief in what we are doing, and it grows the belief in the whole club in what we are doing. And when you see now also under 23, we changed completely with the behavior, how they play. And when you see that these young lads, they were at first sure a little bit not 100% convinced about what we are doing. It is a very different way of defending, this pressing and this ball-oriented defending. This is then always good if you have such a statement. Okay, they're top of the league. It cannot be that bad when you do it. So that's convince them much more, I think. And this is the reason why you sit then at home and think, yes, that's now a good moment for another next step forward, for changing a few things in the club, and definitely very interesting period we are in the moment. Everybody wants to be part of, and such results and such situations definitely have more as if you are on the bottom of the table, because the arguments are not that convincing, I think.
Yeah. Adam obviously touched on it earlier. The game against Wolves kicks off a run of 8 games in 5 weeks now. We've played 8 games in 9 weeks prior to this international break. So, it's the same amount of games, half the amount of time almost. Taking that into account, with the games coming a bit thicker and faster, and understanding that maybe players' minds and bodies will get a little bit more tired, do you have to kind of sort of adapt your management style and approach to the squad now?
No, definitely not, because we showed last season that especially over Christmas we had our most successful time, and it was a very busy schedule, I think. But no, the good thing is the more automatism you have, and the better you get on the ball. And I think that was the biggest development so far since beginning of the season, that we show now also in possession that we are much more economic in our game. The only game we haven't had it in the second half was against Aston Villa, because it was a new situation for us, being 4 up. We don't want to take any risk. but we learned from this, and against Newcastle it was much better. It was much more controlled in the second half. Even if you're only one up, we had better situations in possession. And yeah, we see this progress. We see a higher possession based game, and this helps us, I'm sure, also in this very busy upcoming time.
Great. Just one final quick question, if that's all right, Jordan. Wolves have obviously finished 7th in their 2 campaigns since they came back to the Premier League, Ralph. They obviously had a really good run in the Europa League last season as well. Do you kind of look at them as a good sort of benchmark or model of where you want to get this Saints side to in the sort of not too distant future?
Definitely did a very good job. I think invested also some money. I think more than we did in this time, definitely. But did an amazing job. Sure, it can be also for smaller clubs like we are a good role model for what is possible. But I think they are still steps ahead of us because longer in their progress. We want to show up how far we are now and show ourselves, if it's possible now, to win against this team. And this is the goal for the weekend.
That's great. Thanks, Ralph. Good luck for Monday.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ben. We'll go to Dan Sheldon.
Thank you, Jordan. Good morning, Ralph.
Hello, good morning.
Just a couple from me quickly. I've noticed in recent weeks, you always say, we don't really focus too much on what the opposition are doing. We're going to stick to playing the same way, every week. I won't change how I set my team up to play. How can we have so much belief in that? And are you ever concerned that other teams will figure out what you're doing? Or is it just a case of if they do that, we have to find another way during the match?
Yeah, the second part from the question is definitely what we think. Stick to what we are doing and let the opponent find the solutions. And if they find one, get adapted, because I think the shape we play in the moment, we know very much about it. He's played it 2 years in Leipzig and now again here for not so short time in Southampton. And we definitely know a lot about it. So it's always good to stick to what you definitely know the best and let the others find solutions against it. And if they find, then adapt it and work on it and make it even more perfect if you want. It has never a perfect game, but try to find or show us the weakness, and we will try to find to solve these issues.
So with Wolves in mind, obviously you played against Newcastle, you did a great performance there, kept the clean sheet. How do you kind of tailor your game to Wolves though? Because they're going to play differently to Newcastle, but if you're not changing your system, what are you changing within that system to counter Wolves?
I mean, they both play back 5, and this is, the front 5 are a little bit different sometimes. We don't know exactly what's coming up. We will try to be prepared for every part of this 5 by playing with the back 5. And we have some experience because we played it also for a not so short term. And yeah, that's the reason why we try to be prepared for both of all possible behaviors they show against us. And yeah, this is the goal for the weekend, and this is a good thing that we have a few sessions to do it, showing a few things what we tried in the sessions, and then learn from it and make it better. And then hopefully on Monday you can see that there's some behaviors what we need to have against this team.
That's great. Thank you, Ralph. Good luck for Monday.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, go to Tom Leach, Hampshire Live.
Hello, Ralph. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hello. Can I ask you a quick question about a moment you had on the pitch after the Saints B game against Manchester City last weekend? I saw a brilliant picture of you with the 23s group chatting to them. Could you tell us what you said to them after the game and why you felt it was such an important message to get across to them at that time?
Yeah, because I cannot remember have seen an under-23 game that was definitely that I definitely liked. So it was the first time when I really thought, okay, this is the way we want to see you playing, and we want to develop the young lads, because it was absolutely similar to what we do here in the first team. And this is what I wanted to tell them, that they can be proud what they have learned in this nearly half a year now. With the coaches are coming down from the first team to support them and to bring all the topics in this training sessions and in their behaviors. And you can see now that did a fantastic job. Flem and Kelv helped them massively, and they are now on a fantastic level. And the identity we wanted to create was seen in every part of the game. And I mean, what else? There's there are not a lot of more enjoying things than see that the work goes through the under 23, and the change we want to do in the academy is coming more and more to shine. And this is, I really enjoyed it, I must say.
There's a lot to be excited about amongst that young group. I mean, we speak a lot about Dan and Lunderloo, but there's obviously, Nathan Teller, Will Ferry, Alex Jankovic, so many good young players. It must be even more satisfying to see a performance playing your way against a side as well, as good as Manchester City.
Yeah, I mean, it was not the result that was convincing. It was more the way we wanted to play, and this was definitely what we want to do in the first team. And I'm happy for the young lads, because this is important. And even if you see them now stepping up to us, training with us, they don't need time to adapt. It's a very demanding way you train here, and especially for your mind, you must be always switched on. And this is, I think, that what they really had to learn. And now this intense way of playing football, they get more and more adapted to it. And this was the goal we had. And now we can see the first success, and hopefully, we can. It's still tough to come in the first team. It's still tough to play in the first team, but they're better prepared to step in if they are needed. And this is what we try to do, and we are happy that it works like this.
Just one quick one from me. You speak about obviously getting them prepared to step in if they're needed. I'm just curious whether you set yourself any maybe long-term goals or quotas with them. Let's say, do you look at them and say, maybe, let's say 3 years down the line, I want 5 of these lads to be involved regularly, or 4 of them, or 6 of them?
No, it's not about must that they have to be involved in 3 or 4 years, or how many players. It's more important that they give pressure on the first 11 that is here training out there all the time. Because if they feel there are coming young lads up, they know what to do, that gives you automatically a push, because you cannot lean back and say, I have played so many games here, I have to play. No, who knows me knows that it's more about the form, not about the talent. And if the form from a young lad is over the time better than one who is always playing, there's a reason for me to not pick the young one. But this is the good thing. When you don't have any pressure in the second line, then it's not really something that makes us more successful.
Brilliant, Ralph. Thank you. Best luck for Monday.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. We'll go to Dan King at the Sun.
Hi, Ralph.
Hello.
As a tennis player and fan and Austrian, I wondered what you made of Dominic Thiem's progress, and whether you, as a player, and whether you caught any of the action from the O2 this week, including the game against Nadal.
Yeah, I know Dominic, I can say very well, because we met each other a few times. He's a big Chelsea fan, and I tried to invite him, but then was the pandemic and it didn't work. I'm always following his development in this game. Amazing the progress he made in this game, and would really also like to watch him live once here in England, in London, but it's not possible in the moment. But there will come the time when I can see him playing, and hopefully then he's still the top player. I'm thinking for me in the moment, he has the best baggage for being number one in the future, and I think this is his biggest goal, and I'm sure he can reach it.
But look at also, they're very, very different sports, but he's playing in an era against 3 of the greatest players of all time in Federer and Djokovic and Nadal, and he's had to work hard and hard to find ways to compete with these guys and beat them. I mean, is there a broader parallel in what Southampton as a club are trying to do to compete with, Manchester City, Liverpool, Chelsea, who have been, up at the top of the table for a long time?
Yeah. When you tell me this, I didn't look from such an angle, but it's definitely, there are some comparisons if you want. If you want to develop a game, you need these games against these big teams, or here the big players, to see how good they are, and then to learn to adapt your game. And I think this is what he did also. And then it's not only about waiting until they're too old and not playing anymore, because I think others will do the same, and then you must compete with them. They are coming up. So for us, it's about trying to compete with the top teams. I said one time the quote that if you want to be a lion, you have to fight with lions, and I think that fits very good, because you only get better if you have these games, and we need these games to get better. And also if there's sometimes a losing game, but even there you can learn a lot of this.
So, and just very quickly, finally for me, I know it's been asked before, but looking at the way the table is and given all the different challenges of this season, does it feel like there is a greater chance than normal for clubs like Southampton, but also Wolves, to challenge the bigger teams this season?
I think there is always a chance for every team. If you wouldn't, this is the interesting in football. I think there's always a chance to, if you work well and if you do the right things, to step up and to win against these teams. And we are not scared of any team anymore. And I think this is the first step to be successful, because when you're not convinced about what you're doing, then you don't have the feeling that you can be competitive. So there's always a chance, and this is the nice thing. We are part of a business, of a sport that is a low score game, and in a low score game also sometimes the surprise can happen. And I think this makes football so interesting and the Premier League so interesting.
Thanks, Ralph.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, we're nearly out of time. We'll just do the last couple of questions with Harry Pratt.
Hi, Ralph.
Hello.
Hi, Ralph. Shea Adams obviously been in terrific form this season. Can that form be translated? I mean, is he good enough for the international game?
For England or what?
Well, England, or I mean, he's also. I think he qualifies for Scotland, and obviously there's now a big carrot next summer. And I'm just wondering, does his game? I mean, can he transfer the goals to an international scene? Whoever he chooses.
I think this, especially our team, showed in the past that we have got 2 international for England and a lot of international for other teams. So if you're performing well in the Premier League, I think everything is open for you. And the first and the most important thing is that he still develops his game. I think he made a big step forward in the season. He had a tough first one, but he was never stopping working hard, and I think this was his secret of being successful now, because we will definitely give him all the support we want to, and in the end it's about him to show up and to learn quick and to get better and to get more and more in this position where he can score. And I think that strikers in my shape have a lot of work to do, but in the end they get a big reward for it, and this is what I hope will always be for him also.
I mean, obviously the Scotland thing has come up before with previous managers trying to get Shea on board. Is it something you've ever discussed? And do you think, now that they're in the Euros and with such a big game against England, that it could be that much more attractive to a player?
No, I didn't speak about this with him. I think such decisions are up to the players, and it's not about a club manager to speak with the player about this. He must take this decision by himself. For me, it's the most important thing that he is still focused on his work he has to do here, and the international is like a bonus on the top. But I think for this he doesn't need me to take a decision.